I think the question is a real good question.
I would
Do you have any
wonder,
idea about it?
well, I would wonder if maybe it's a timing issue, if maybe the third month of the quarter you get the inversion. And I want to go back and look, let's see. Now I can tell you that in December, which would be the next third month, CPI comes out on December 10th, and the PPI, let me check this real quick, would come out on December 11th. So no, it's not that. I don't have a good explanation for what it is. Certainly something worth researching.
Yeah, we ought to figure that out. That's a great question, though. And, I like learning stuff like that too, Jackie, because it helps you figure out what the thinking behind everything is and all. But we find that interesting. Okay, my overview, let me just give everybody my overview. I had a pivot number today of 6505, 6505. The market has not been robust, but it hadn't been negative either. And you got to remember, we had that big rapid sell off from Friday after going to highs. So it's very interesting how it's climbed back up to be here at 6513, meaning that 6515, which was Friday's pivot number and was support until we broke through it. We're going to challenge it. We're challenged that right now. I think that's one thing, one factor going on. The other factor going on is the bond market. I'll be talking about that tonight during Futures First. There's a trade that I do when you get a bond market like this. I've been waiting for bonds to get above 115. I've got a layup trade I've done for 20 something years. I'm going to teach people tonight. It's called a utility trade. And the utility of it is you put it on. I already covered one from last night. I put a new one on this morning. And it's like a Ty Cobb trade. You grind out a couple $100 on average a day. And if you do one lot, if you go heavier, you can do more. But I like to just do one because it's a grind type trade. And I'll teach that tonight. But past performance is not indicative of future results. The other thing I talked about a lot last night was SPX and XSP. Real opportunity in SPX and XSP. If you think about it, you want to get paid the fastest, then you go with the SPX, you get the direction right. And you can get the direction right by learning some basic things about the market. And I think that's the important thing about SPX. Now, XSP is probably a more high odds type trade because it is something that you can pretty well do a routine trade off of just based off the current cycle of the day and time and all that. So that's something that I like about the XSP. They both give you tax advantages, and they're both have to be part of what you're doing. I think to really have what I would call a maximum penetration of those big profits on your account. I mean, you can take a one lot on SPX and make $1,000 if you get that direction right, get the timing right, and do these zero dated options. So that's a pretty good potential. Problem is you got to worry about the downside, and I think I've got that figured out for people. What I'm showing in the SPX program. That's my opinion. Now, today, we're here. We're going to talk a lot today about our newsletter, which comes out later on today. And there it is right there, the release after the close. What I'm going to try to accomplish here is find 5 stocks that you can use the strategy I'm talking about today with as early as tomorrow. And I call it a Delta 50 strategy. If you've got enough money in your account, if you don't have enough money to do these type trades, then you ought to do a Delta 10 strategy. We'll cover that in our education today. We're also going to talk about the horse race, how important the horse race helps us identify the leading horses as you start off each day, but also it's real important on a Monday when you're trying to say, okay, what's moving? For example, go take a look at Hood. Hood, somebody lit a fire on the Hood today. It's over 115. That's an example. Another positive thing that I'm not surprised about is just that, but it was something that could be one of the best trades of the week, and I hadn't even identified it yet for this week, is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, something happened on Thursday and Friday of last week, and they took NVIDIA down, and I thought, don't tell me they're going to go into a Berkshire Hathaway 3-month move on NVIDIA, but they took it down. But NVIDIA, unlike Berkshire, has showed a recovery, and in fact, it's at 169 right now. It takes out 172, goes back in play for the month of September, which is what I would expect with this kind of recovery this fast on NVIDIA. Another stock that I really like is Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers is a housing stock. If they're cutting interest rates, go look at Toll, what it's done this month already and what it's doing. It's a play. That might be a good Delta 10 or Delta 50 strategy. And folks, if you're wondering what Delta 50 and Delta 10 is, it's where I take a Delta, find an option with an expiration date that's out there a few 30 or more days in general terms, and I put some money into it. That's the way I do it. And it really pays you to do this strategy, so I want to teach it today. Again, we have special opportunities created all the time. Here's one of them, my Retirement Center educational Telegram channel. You can join by just clicking that button. If you want to go full force, get a Tasty Trade account and send Jonathan an email, and he will give you the referral. We had somebody this morning that wanted to join. I sent the referral to. But what we're trying to do is just, this is going to be full scale. How do you make a lot of money in the last 3 months of the year? And you ought to be on board going through what we're going through right now, how you set it up. We've got a couple of classes or a couple of tapes there to give you, okay? Anyway, we have that this week. There's a referral. Just send a row at DTI Trader an email, and we'll see exactly what we're looking at there on Tasty Trade. September 22nd, 23rd, when is that? Next week or week after next? Let me check real quick. Week after next, getting closer. All right, good. I'm ready. Are y'all ready? I hope you are. If you're coming, it's going to be a great time to do it. Now, if you do join, and this is what a great time to join, you learn my utility strategy with bonds. I designed this trade to pay your utility bill, and with utility rates going off the charts, what a better trade to put on every week. Just learning that tonight. So sign up for a class. You'll get 1 year of these type educational opportunities every Monday night at 7. Okay. Yeah, Neil, that's what I would do. Wait till October. Absolutely. I'm just going through some motions right now to get everybody see how to do it. Okay. We can teach more in 2 days in a small class, then you can learn your online. Another highlight is gold, GLD. Chuck could talk about that probably, I'm sure. But I made a little Delta 50 trade on gold this morning. Made some nice change there. But we can teach you more how to do that, when we're face to face and, online. Exciting times. Now, I'm going to let Jonathan cover this. I want to look at these stocks very closely and try to identify. Now, here's what I do. Let me tell you what I do. Just let you see it. This little blue 3x5 card. I'm going to identify stocks that are setting up to have a good September as Jonathan runs through this. Take it away, Jonathan. Always think about how you're going to plan and make money. Here's the way you do it.
Okay, well, I just updated this 11:13 a.m. Eastern Time on September the 8th. Some things
Okay,
are
gold, silver, and bonds in the QQQ. That's what I take from the first 7. Gold and silver, okay? Ideas. All right, Jonathan, keep going. Oh man, MU. I forgot to do that one this morning. MU. Let's see what else we got on this page. There's Toll, Tesla. All these are candidates for my Delta 50, Delta 10. Yeah, HL. Put HL in there too. Thank you, Jackie. HL. Put HL in there. Absolutely. Home Depot's HD. Hood and Reddit qualify on this page. All right, Jonathan. That's the qualifiers. Is Jonathan talking? I can't hear him. Can y'all hear Jonathan?
I'm not talking, Tom. Every time I went to talk, you started getting excited, so I just let you have it.
Oh,
Go
go
for
play
it.
back. Jump in. Take it. Take it.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk over you, that's for sure. No, I just scrolled down the page here. I'm getting Hecla Mining updated, and that stock looks great. I see why you have it on your list. Breaking out today, that's for sure. The first 3 days high on Hecla Mining was from the second day of the month at 908. The low was from the first day of the month, 842. Current price up at 10.15.
Oh, how about a little Hecla? I like it.
Yep.
I used to trade that stock a lot back in my early days, back when I didn't have gray hair. It's been around a long time. Beautiful stock. If you look at it, you can really do well with this stock.
But what I'm saying, Tom, I'm seeing obviously gold and silver are still rocking and rolling, but I'm also seeing a clearer picture start to take shape. You know, the only red we have on here is crude oil, which we want to see red because you like it short down to 45. And then AMD still struggling a little bit, but everything else is either in a no signal or it's long. And that's a change from last month because last month it was kind of a checkerboard pattern, especially in technology. But at the very least, this spreadsheet should help you to be thinking long and not short. All right. If there is one thing you come away from using the spreadsheet, it's that right there. All right. What can I eliminate? Tom always says, can we eliminate long, short, or out? Well, this month sure is setting up to eliminate the short side unless you're thinking of crude.
And that's a good overview you just gave you, folks. You want to play from the long side. Boy, you're going to love this strategy I'm going to teach you today. But I've been using it all morning on things that set up. And I think that you're going to find out that by taking these stocks, let me ask this question. Okay. I know you listen to a lot of people and all that. Does anybody give you a focus list like this that you can make money with like this? I mean, if you look at it, it really gets you drilled in, and you have to be patient, wait for the first 3 days of the month is all. Okay. I think Carrie said absolutely not. Thanks, Carrie, for confirming what I thought. Claire says, what's so great about it? You're not charging us for it. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe we ought to. I'm just kidding. But no, this is great because I think if you learn this sheet and understand what I'm giving you, you'll never listen to anybody else because this works. This works so good over the course of a year. I mean, it's just incredible what this will do for you. All right. So anyway, you've got the income stocks, Amazon, Yield Mag, Tesla's in there. You know, got some stocks moving there. That's good. Okay.
Yep, good start to the month. What we got next? All right, Tom. Time for the topic of the day here for training day, training trade.
Yes.
Just for a quick reminder that Tom's always giving trades inside the sessions here we do every day, and you're of course welcome to trade whatever trade you like. We're going to track these trades in the T-Buzz Talk and Trade program. So if you want to get those updates plus just so much more with TNT, you can go to detachtrader.com/TNT. Tom, what time do you start this morning?
I'm sorry. What time did I start this morning in Thinker or in T-Buzz Talk and Trade?
Yeah.
I usually start somewhere between 5 and 6 every day.
Yep, sure did. 5:32 a.m. Eastern time was your first.
Yeah, I try to give, I look at the market for about when I wake up, and I try to find the opportunistic where I see money flow going, and then I really jump into my sunrise trade that happened. So sort of it's a process I do to put dollars in play, and you have the tools to do it. So why not take advantage of it? Claire said Amazon was one of my top 5 this morning. And if you look at Amazon, you're up $2 from where I said buy it. So that's not bad, is it, Claire?
Not bad.
Plus, you had time to plan your trade.
That's right. And we're about to show you a feature that the roadmap you can use called the horse race. But that's today's topic. Choosing the right horse to trade. And then we're focusing on our horse race trade inside the roadmap software.
There's the stocks of the day.
Now, I've got a horse race set up live, which I'll go to. Took a little while to get this set up. Let me show that to you. And talk a little bit about it here. Across the very top is our feature called the horse race. It's under launch for all your roadmap users. And I've got it set up to show the W for weekly, D for daily, and R for reference bar. That's what you see across, each of these. And it just gives you a simple bar graph, and you can easily see what your strongest markets are. Look at this Amazon over here. TQQQ is also strong. I've got our 5 stocks on the right portion and our futures markets on the left portion.
Yeah, TQQ's been very strong all morning. And I did a Delta 50 strategy on that one. Let's see.
All right, but what I've got here below here is 5 charts, the 5 charts of our stocks. And I had enough space to keep it with just our simple 2-bar pattern. And if you take what Tom was telling us about the 2-bar pattern, what do you see here? What do you see here? Let's go one by one. What do you see for Apple? Long, short, or out on Apple. All right, the 2-bar pattern says bearish or stay out since we're in a bullish market and thinking long. So stay out on Apple. Probably the best thing to do. But the 2-bar pattern, we're lower on the lower side. How about on TQQQ on the 2-bar pattern? All right. Yep. Low, low. So it's not time to get in yet on TQQQ. How about GLD? GLD looks better, right? Made a higher high on the 2-bar pattern. That's good. How about TLT and Amazon? All right, good. Now, of all these markets, incorporating the horse rate and the charts down below, what market are you wanting to trade? All right, between GLD, TLT, and Amazon, what's the strongest market? Amazon. Bob says Amazon. Cindy
I'd
says,
go Amazon. Cindy and me are in agreement there.
yeah.
And gold next, right?
All right, that's the goal of the horse race setup.
And it's a beautiful way to really take your emotions out of it, because obviously I'm very bullish on Apple, but Apple's not in play right now. Would I rather put money in Apple or Amazon? I'd rather put new money in Amazon.
So that brings us to the next step down here at the ETR page, which stands for electronic tape reader. And if I circle Apple, you can see it's red on the 3 boxes here. We got the 10:30 open at 239.21, the most recent 30-minute open, the 11 a.m. open at 239.13, and we got a current price of 238.74. And the way you can read this is we know we want to think long. If you're thinking you want to be long Apple, well, it's got to at least take out that higher number, that highest number. So it's got to get above 330 or 239.21. We know that at the very least on Apple today. Then you scan your eyes over here to Amazon to see the difference. And you have 3 higher numbers here, trading at 237.43, which is above the most recent half-hour open. And it's above the half-hour open that was prior to that as well. So Amazon looking much stronger than Apple.
Now, does everybody know how to set this up, where you can have this same look with your 5 stocks and all that? Does everybody y'all know how on the roadmap, how easy it is to set this up? Why don't you go through a stepwise, just say step 1 through ever how many steps it takes to get this picture, Jonathan? Because I think they could write that down and we could put it in there. Like Ed just said, no, he doesn't know how to do it. So why don't you just go through setting it up for them? Like this is step 1, how to set this up.
Well, step 1 is to open up your horse race feature, which is under launch. About 8 to 10 down, labeled horse race. Then you want to name it something. I'll just name it stocks here, an extra S because I had a typo. Shred this feature out. I'm going to right click on the feature and go to edit symbol list. So once again, I hit launch. I went to horse race. I named the feature and opened it. Opens to a blank feature. I'm going to right click and edit symbol list. And I'm going to put our stocks in there. We had Apple, we had TQQQ, we had GLD, TLT, and Amazon. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to kind of load in here based off of the settings that I have, which are for only the weekday and reference bar. But if you can change those, you can right click on the feature and hit setup. And you get this box here. You have checkable boxes for time, reference bar, day, week, month, quarter, and year. I've unchecked everything except for reference bar, day, and week. Now, if you want this setup to give you week on the left, day in the middle, and reference bar on the right, you might have to change this plot drop down. You have the choice of 2 different ones. You can either have it the longest time frame on the left, narrowing down to the shortest time frame on the right, or vice versa. And you can also choose resizing bars or static bars. Static bars looks like that, but typically prefer to go resizing bars. Resizing bars will update depending on, how wide, how spread out you had the chart, the actual graph here. Now the ETR page, which was at the bottom, you can go to tables and go to ETR. Again, name it something. I'm just going to name it stocks for September 8th because I had something else named stocks. Spread that across the bottom here, and for this, you can just left click into one of these gray boxes and start typing Apple, TQQQ, DLD, TLT, and Amazon. I'm going to right click on the table, which you can do with any table, and go to column widths, which is going to adjust the size of those columns so we can actually see the data. And then the most tedious part about all of this is loading your charts up. So if I double click on the horse race symbol that I want to load in a chart from, it will open up a chart. And then in some fashion, you'll have to, resize the charts down the way you want them. And by far, that took the longest time to get the setup looking like this morning. Now, it's going to depend on your screen size some too. Right, this is, I think, a 27-inch screen, so a decent amount of space to use. If you're on like a laptop, what I would do if you were on a laptop is I would probably do something like this, where, drag these windows, somewhere you can fit them in, and then use under launch, there's a feature called the dashboard. Or on a laptop screen, you might even utilize multiple tabs at the bottom of your roadmap. But if I go to launch dashboard and show you this feature, this is another great feature that can be used very similarly to the horse race. We'll get it set up, and I went to launch dashboard. I named it. I'm going to add the stocks into the table portion on the left side. And we're just going to spread this out a little bit and show you what this is. When you get your stocks loaded into the dashboard, you can actually double click on the row to load in the chart to the right. The table portion is connected to the chart on the right. And the coolest thing about this dashboard is you can actually right click on the table. There's a horse race sort on here. And if I choose net open percent descending, it's going to toggle these to the strongest market for us. And so right here at the dashboard, it's telling us Amazon is our strongest market, which we, learned and decided on our own from the original setup, right? But if you have a whole bunch of stocks that you can't fit across the screen like this, having the dashboard order them strongest down the weakest is very, very useful. And again, that was right click, scroll over horse race sort, net open percent descending. And click on Amazon, it has a green chart. All these little indicators to help you decide long, short, or out. And it's something, these are all things that Tom has built over the years. It's really an amazing software, this roadmap software.
Yeah, Brian, you can save it, and and then all you got to do is call up whatever you name it if you want to see a certain horse race. The way I would use it, if I was in TNT, I would post those 5 stocks in there, and then with what I'm going to teach you today, I'd go for it. It's very clear the criteria when these stocks are going to pay you. If do y'all want to learn that? Let me ask you a question. You want to learn that today? Where you could just do it and kill it? All right, so you got the tools set up with the roadmap, okay? To verify that you're not letting your bias interfere with you. And did you notice that he said, which one is the 1 or 2 bar buy or sell? And you look there, Apple's not, right? TQQ is not at the time he was doing it. Gold was not at the time you're doing it. TLT is close, and Amazon is. So if you look at your depiction, then you would go from there after you decide on Amazon to either a Delta 50 or a Delta 10 strategy, because Amazon is saying, hey, Cheryl, hey, Neil, hey, Pete, I want to pay you some money. You want to listen? Or John? And so then everybody sees how we got to Amazon, right? Out of the lineup that I was posted in TNT, right? Okay, so let's, we got any more slides to go through?
Yeah, we do. And I just gave that, I saved this horse race workspace. Now, remember, I'm on a 27-inch screen. I saved it and I sent it to Jeff so he can load it into the Launch Internet location. So give it about 30 minutes and you'll be able to go to Launch Internet Connect and find it in the workspaces down at the bottom left.
And then all I got to do is just change it, right?
Right. Then just got to kind of resize everything to, what you're.
All right, let's get into the training, because I do believe if you walk away today with what I'm about to show you, you're walking away with a lot of value. And I call it my Delta 50 strategy. First of all, you got to have your trading platform set up to give you Delta. And what is Delta? A real simple explanation is if it moves 1 point and the Delta is 50, the option's going to move 50 cents. Write that down. So if the option, whatever price the option is, if the underlying moves $1, then you're going to get a 50% increase, which is very helpful to you if you're looking at a stock like Google or one of these other stocks that move quite a bit. So you go find that option and you try to find one about 30 days out, because remember, this is not a day trade. This is a swing type approach that you're going to take stocks off of the fundamental foundation 25 ticker list that made it this far. Does everybody understand that? We're not just pulling stocks out of the air. We're pulling stocks that have got our attention this month here in September. Okay. So we go out 30 days, right? Okay. So we go out 30 days, look at the cost of the 50 for each of these, and we'll use an October 17th expiration. Now I've explained what they got here.
Yeah, I tried to make it a couple of key points. If you look across this is Tasty Trades platform, and each of the columns has, if they have this little gear or whatever that is out to the left of what the column is named, you can change the column. And so when you click on the column, it has a choice for option Greeks and theoreticals, I believe is what it's called. And you can find Delta there to add Delta. Or no, excuse me, it's not even called. It's just a long list of, here, let me just show you this platform. If I click the top header, it gives you a drop down. It's just a long list of categories, and the second one is Delta. That's how you add it to your data points there on the platform. We'll go back to the slide here. I've kind of circled and bracketed off the Delta column to find the 50 Delta, and I bracketed out to the right. This was, a good half hour or more ago at this point, but you can see the 50 Delta option on Apple that was out to October 17th. When I took this, was priced at $6.85.
And what was the strike?
240 was the strike at the time.
240 is the strike. Okay, so 240 strike out there, and it would cost you how much at that time?
It was $6.85 at that
All
time.
right, 685. Well, what has Apple done? What time did you do this? You remember what time you did it?
Let's see, it's 11:39 now. We started 11. I probably did this between 10:30 and 11 is my best guess.
Okay, so if you had one of these and you paid $6.85, you'd probably be down on that because Apple probably has come down from the price that you executed. Because I'm watching Apple. Apple right now is at 238.46. So let's say it's down $1. It's going to be about 50 cents lower if you go check the current price. But if you go back to your horse race, that tool, you wouldn't have picked Apple. Does everybody understand why you wouldn't have picked Apple?
Yep. And nobody said they would get long Apple earlier when we asked the question. So that's
Right.
good.
So you saved yourself by using the technique we showed you through the horse race and the roadmap. You saved yourself about 50 cents. Folks, don't trade without this roadmap. That's all I can tell you. Okay, so that's an example. So let's keep going.
Did the same for TQQQ. At the time of this, it was 530. But again, showed the delta column to find the 50 delta. And then the price, it was the 95 strike. Let's look at GLD as a good example because it wasn't quite a 50 delta. You got a 49 and a 51 delta. If you look up here at the price, at the time it was 334.72. And we generally just want to look at the closest at the money strike. So that's why I chose the 335, which is a little bit more delta. It's 51 delta. The price was 825. And that was the 335 strike. For TLT, you can see the discrepancy away from the 50 delta is a little bit greater. The price of TLT was 89.27. The 89 strike call at a delta of 54. That was $1.76. And then Amazon, ended up being a 55 delta for the 235 strike. This is going to be more common when you have strikes that are 5 points wide. It's going to be more common to see. You might have to go with a delta that's a little bit further away from 50. Ended up being a 55 delta, and the price was $9.65 at the time for the 235 strike.
So paying $685 for an option, if you're not disciplined, is probably scary because you don't want to lose $685. Well, even if you got a big account, you don't want to lose that. So if you got a small account, a way is to do a Delta 10 strategy. Okay. Now it takes a little bit longer to hit your objective, but a lot less exposure. So the Delta 50 option, I'd sell to open a 40 delta against it. So let's go back and look at doing that on Apple.
Yeah,
30 days out, John. You're 30 days out to October 17th. That's why we chose that date. Over 30 days.
Yep, more than 30 days. That was the monthly, and I know all these stocks have weeklies, but I just chose October 17th because every stock's going to have a monthly, at least that has options. So what happens when you turn a Delta 50 into a Delta 10? When you, like Tom said, you take the 50 Delta option, you sell the 40 Delta option against it. It lowers your Delta exposure down to 10. So I think Tom said this, but now for every 1 point move in the underlying, the option move be 50 cents. Of course, a Delta 10 exposure, the option spread is going to move only about 10 cents for every 1 point move in the underlying. So
now, let me just say this. If you got a big enough account, you might start out with the Delta 50, and if it moves against you, go sell the Delta 40 and have a Delta 10 to stay with the trade. I've made money plenty of days just because my timing was off a little bit. Everybody understand how this works for even big accounts too?
Now, to learn more about that, I think we have that on board later this week in terms of a topic. And I think it was Yeah, it was Friday. Friday, we'll talk more about that. This Friday.
Yeah, people's always looking for strike and trying to complicate it. Go find the Delta 50 option. It's like buying the stock if you have two of them, but if you only buy one, you're taking like a probe in there. Okay. All right, keep going, Jonathan.
We're going to look at an example of the option chain again on each of these. So if we look at Apple, the 240 strike was the 50 delta, and the goal was to turn this into a 10 delta trade, or at least close we can. Now the next strike up in this case was the 38 delta. So if we were long a 50 delta 240 call, which meant we were long 50 delta as our exposure to delta, and then we turn around and we sell a 245 call against it because it's close to 40 delta, we're net 12 delta. So 50 long delta minus 38 would be a short delta. You get a net delta of 12. Now, what does that do? It immediately lowers our risk because we're bringing in $4.40 of premium as the options were marked earlier. So our risk was lowered from 685 down to only 245. And Tom has a rule, an extra insight here. When you're trading an option spread, when you're buying them, don't pay more than half the width of the spread. And we can see here that there's a 5-point difference between these two strikes, 240 and 245. And what's half of 5 is 2.5. So this spread marked at 245 at the time was still within, a reasonable amount of risk for trading a 5 wide. And by doing this strategy, turning your 50 delta into a 10, what's the value of it? One, you got lower risk. And two, people will argue, well, now you don't have unlimited reward. But the benefit of that is you can actually take this trade now because it fits your risk parameters, where in the past, or if you're just trying to buy the long call, perhaps it didn't fit your risk parameters. And of course, if you don't like the risk of any trade, then you shouldn't be taking it. So spreads can bring more trading opportunities, to your tool bag if you want to think about it that way. Let's look at TQQQ. TQQQ, the 95 call was 50 delta. The closest to a 40 delta was up 3 strikes to the 98. It was a 41 delta at the time I took this. So 50 long delta minus 41 short delta meant a net delta of 9. And it took the risk from $5.20 down to $1.50. So $1.50 pay for a 3 wide spread, that's fine. Half the width of the 3 wide. GLD, the 335 call had a 51 delta. Came down here to the 341 call, which had a 40 delta. That equaled a net exposure of 11. Brought our risk down on this 6 wide spread to $2.60 on GLD. TLT was less than $2 for the long call, so that was totally fine in terms of small account risk. And then Amazon was similar to Apple, where it was the very next strike up, turning a 55 delta into a 10 delta. But this right here, a 5 wide spread, was marked at 265. So if we abide by Tom's rule not to pay more than half the width of the spread, we have a couple choices as a small account holder. One, you could say this is too much risk for me, I don't take the trade. But two, you could also consider bumping the strikes up to 240, 245. And you can see there is be a 45 long delta minus a 36 short delta. That'd be a 9 delta exposure, very, very similar trade. And you wouldn't be paying half the width of the spread. You wouldn't be paid more than half the width of the spread. Looks like you'd be paying at the time about a 210 or so for that. That's turning a 50 delta long call into a 10 delta spread. And like Tom said, if your time, well, let's just put it this way. when you buy options, if your timing is spot on and the stock moves up after you purchase the option, you're always going to be better off buying a long call if your timing is spot on. But spreads give you a little timing leeway because they greatly lower your risk, not only in dollars, but in that delta exposure. And the last thing you want to be when a market turns down, you don't want to be long a bunch of delta exposure. And that's just a fancy way of saying in these examples, it's just a fancy way of saying long a bunch of calls. You don't want to be in that situation. Okay, Tom.
So does everybody understand this Delta 50 strategy? Have a good feel for it. Okay, so far today, okay, Amazon has paid me. I had IBM as another one I had that paid me. I have, I didn't take the Apple trade because it looked terrible. Gold paid me. I basically had a good morning using the Delta 50 strategy. Now, I had two other ones that didn't work. Go back, if you will, Jonathan, go back, if you will, to the horse race.
Let's look the live look at the horse race. Okay. Let's go back here. Should be able to see my roadmap now, Tom.
Yeah. Notice that TQQ, I did a Delta 50 strategy on it, and I'm a little bit behind on that option right now, okay, on the TQQ. I'm not out of the game, but it's just hadn't gone my way with the S&P pulling back, okay? That's on the TQQ. And the other one I haven't done that I want to do is TLT, and I'm going to consider doing TLT after we do our presentation on Sunrise. Okay, we're going to do Sunrise or Genesis?
I believe it's Sunrise, and before we get there, if we look at like Amazon on the Sunrise signal, the thing we haven't talked about yet is adding in the element of time of day. And when I took all these snapshots, we were trading after the morning reference bar with great setups. Amazon long, TQQQ was good during the RB3. TLT, that's what TLT looked like. We pinpointed Amazon as our strongest market, and we were exactly right. Now, and we're about to show you what Sunrise means, and basically this is a setup very similar to the Sunrise, signals. Now we're moving into Genesis. And Genesis, of course, is when the European markets close. And you can see, you've heard Tom say 4 out of 5 days. Turn my phone off. 4 out of 5 days, Genesis can either mark the high or the low. So basically, what Genesis is when European markets close, you can see the trend accelerate, or you can see the trend reverse. And so knowing that going into the Genesis hour and going into any trade, you should ask yourself, okay, how close we are to Genesis or the next reference bar. And you must incorporate that into your trading. But hopefully, everybody's learned a little bit from what we've done today, Tom. It was a great setup. You had me get going here. And I think today's lesson was a fantastic lesson.
Yeah, because I think that if you take, again, you got to connect the dots of what we do. You go back to our foundation sheet for review.
You talking about the tickers list?
Yeah, the tickers list. Go back to the tickers list.
Okay.
Okay, I go back here and I find tickers that would qualify. These tickers already qualify, they're in play. Everybody understand that. I'm not going to do every one of them, but I want the best of the best when I put money on the line on the day that we're talking about. And then I go from here to look at a compass chart, go look at a compass chart. I mean, horse race. Go to a horse race. Be easiest. Go to a horse race. I go to the horse race, the 5 top ones I gave you this morning, and clearly Apple is not in play. TQQ is going a little sideways. Gold has hit its target and come down by the time I'm looking at it. TLT setting up and Amazon is in play. So those two are stocks that I would consider, okay? Once I get those in my crosshairs, I go find the Delta 50 option and then wait for the time of day to put those trades on. Best time to put these trades on is 10 after 10 using the sunrise signal, okay? And the sunrise signal would have told me which one of these stocks would have been the best to play. In this case, I think it was GLD was the best at the time. But I'm just guessing because it really took off. And TQQ was good, and Amazon was good. Those three were money payers. And if you would have had those in your 5 tickers, which I give you every morning, you would have put up roughly, let's say $600 a contract. That's $1,800, and you would have made anywhere from $500 to $700 by this time of day. Anybody interested in learning how to do that? $500 to $700 this time of day. And that's usually one contract. Bigger accounts can do more, but you understand where I'm going? Okay. So this training I'm giving you is very good to help you navigate the direction. So let's put it all together. Okay. You have the pivot number on the main S&P, 6505. We're staying above it. Everything's still in play. We're just going from reference bar to reference bar. Okay. And now we're finding the tickers that are going to pay us if we enter in positions. We have a strategy in our back pocket. Now, if you're a small account, what I would do is do the Delta 10 strategy right from the get-go, and you just got to have you got to bet on the fact that this stock's going to keep making highs this month in September, and you know that by looking at your sheet. Okay? Does everybody see how to do that in small accounts? Big accounts now can get more aggressive. A Fred in here will probably do, once he uses this technique, will be him and Carol and other people. Jim probably do a lot more contracts, but learn the art of trading before you accelerate it, okay? And then, of course, Genesis would be 10 after 12. RB4 was another one, would be 10 after 2. 10 minutes is what I would give it each time. All right, so any more slides we got before we, because I'm going to put on, I'll tell you right now, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to put on 2 trades today in TNT. One will be on the TLT trade, and I'm also going to put on a Amazon trade in about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on when it's over. So my goal is for you to listen about one of the key ingredients, how we got here, is the sunrise signals. Now, the sunrise signal starts early in the morning, 7:10, okay, 7:10, 8:10, and 10:10. Those 3 points of connection tell you what's going to move, shake, rattle, and roll. How much is that worth to you to know that? That's the question you got to ask yourself. If you could play at this rate of accuracy by being able to match the numbers. When I say match the numbers, GLD, it's just use hypothetical 3. Well, here, I'll give it to you. I got it right here. GLD. If GLD's at 332 and at 10 o'clock's at 334, and I look back at 7 and it's at 332, and GLD has a positive reference bar, you're going to be in GLD. Everybody understand how sunrise would have put you there? Okay. But having these computer generated setups, they're happening in the background. We have an exclusive members only Telegram channel. The entry alerts are stationary. Got a simple rule here how to do it. Now with the Delta 50 strategy, you can use that for these entries if you want to, or you can take this one here. Look at this one, MU. I'd say that's a pretty good call right there. Go about 15 days out, pay about $3. If you're wrong, get out of a 30% loss and move on. But this is a way to have a nice trade that's set up. Do you see how much time it saves you having the computer do it for you? I mean, I'm doing other things, and all of a sudden I get a notice that, hey, I got a trade. I'm gonna take it. If you don't know options, this is the way to learn options. Go to Option Made Simple. Be sure to listen to the master class. I think this morning we'd get the same thing from Barbara. What we gave you this morning is sort of the keys to the money box. Oscar said he loves this train and trade. Does everybody here love train and trade? We say Oscar plus everybody else. Pretty good stuff, isn't it? Okay. Years ago, we did a Daybreak Master Class. This is so far beyond this. It's amazing what we've been able to do with computers. If you want to join, okay, we got a special price on Sunrise. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise. I'm giving you the executive summary, but guess what I'm going to do for you? If you sign up for this, I'm going to show you how to pay for it this week, okay? That's what I'm going to do this week. So it doesn't cost you anything if you sign up. So get signed up for the special discounted price, 904-706-3532. Okay? This is Sunrise. Now we're going to play. Here's the way it's going to work. We're going to do this week in Sunrise, every day, we're going to post a bonus trade into Sunrise every day, doing what I just told you. And so I'm going to pay you that way for being a member. Okay. But get joined, because I'm going to do two trades, maybe two at this time of day when we come back. I'm going to watch this and then I'm going to come back and do it. So where else can you get paid for listening? Right here. So join Sunrise, and Adam's going to play the Sunrise longer version, or get signed up and get ready to go. I'll be watching this when it goes off. Jonathan will let me know. I'll come back in here after I'm looking at these trades, and we're going to do it. How's that sound? This is a good version. You ought to listen to it.
Hours a day before lunch, all thanks to the signal that Tom Steve watches before the opening bell ever rings every day. And we're excited to dive into this. First and foremost, we always want to say the profits and performance shown are not typical. We're not making any future earnings claims. You can always lose money in the stock market. Everybody here is a smart trader. If you're giving up part of your July 4th to be with us, you already know that. But nonetheless, the trades expressed are from historical backtested data in order to demonstrate the potential of the system. The average backtested return per trade, winners and losers included, is 11.91% per weekend trade, and every example is based on a $2,000 starting stake unless otherwise stated. The historic success rate is 77%. We can't guarantee any future results, but there's always a high degree of risk in trading. So see the terms on DTI's homepage if you want more information. Secondly, There's always going to be losers in trading. We just like to beat this drum again because we don't want to think we're steering people otherwise, just because we've got a really incredible system. The whole purpose of what Tom does is to give you an edge, and as we just saw from those numbers, it's a pretty powerful edge. Still, if you can't handle a losing trade, you really shouldn't be trading with real money, because losses in trading have occurred and will occur in the future. Now, my name is Stephen Ground, and I'm really excited to be here, and I want to start with a question. What if there was a way to target $250, $500, or even $1,000 each day, all thanks to a signal that fires before the opening bell even rings? I'm talking about a way to target a couple $100 a day or more, while most folks are still stuck in traffic on the way to their boring day jobs. Now, for some of you tuning in, that might sound a little far-fetched, and I understand that. But as you'll soon see, according to the trading legend joining me today, it's now possible thanks to one of the most powerful and often overlooked signals in the market. For example, look at what his study shows happened back on May 21st. Now, while most folks were dreading the start to their workday, thanks to a little-known signal on CRWV, CoreWeave, that took place before the opening bell, anyone could have clicked a few buttons to jump in right after the markets opened and watched as the stock exploded higher all day long, handing out a $508 payout in just a few hours. Then the next day, same exact thing. While most folks were still swapping stories at the water cooler, trying to pass time at the day job, anyone who would have caught the sunrise signal on Tesla, which fired before the markets opened, could have placed a quick trade right after the opening bell, and when things worked out, watched a cool $473 hit in their accounts before the end of the day. And then just a few days later, same thing. While most folks were stuck in boring meetings, we've all been there, anyone could have seen one quick signal on NVIDIA, again, firing in the morning before the open, and then placed the trade while they were out for a morning walk and cashed in with $491 when it was all said and done. It's all thanks to one incredibly powerful signal that fires each morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. And Tom calls it the sunrise signal, because just by checking this one signal after the sun rises each morning, you can use it to target $250, $500, even $1,000 or more before the end of the day. For example, let's look back at the study from May 5th. Here's the sunrise signal lighting up like fireworks at 8 a.m. And as you'll see in just a moment, that was a surefire sign that stocks would trend higher all day long. So all anyone had to do was click a few buttons after the opening bell to place a quick trade, and then come back later to see a quick 25% return on MU. Now, let's say someone had invested $2,000 in that trade, and that's the stake we're going to be talking about with every example from here on, unless otherwise stated. That would have been enough to pay out a handsome $500, all by checking one signal before the opening bell. And they didn't have to wake up at the crack of dawn. Thank goodness. As I said, not my bag. They didn't have to stare at stock charts for a long time. They just needed to check one quick signal before the opening bell, wait a few minutes, and then place a trade. And that's it. It's not more complicated than that. And the beautiful thing is, while we almost always get an opportunity each day, some days we get more. Like that very same day, May 5th, the sunrise signal picked up on not one, not two, but actually three high-powered entries for us. The first one on that Micron example we just talked about, $500 in a few hours. The second one on GLD, which would have paid out $457 the same day. And the third one on QQQ, which could have paid folks $404 before dinner. All that from the one day of following the sunrise signal, the signal that fires before the markets even open. Anyone could have collected $1,362 with a few clicks of the button. For most folks, that's like adding an extra paycheck with just a few minutes work, all before your morning coffee even gets cold. Look at the steam still rising on that. Now, as great as that is, we've honestly only scratched the surface on what this sunrise signal is capable of. Because before the end of this briefing, my guest is going to reveal the real opening bell that most traders don't know about, how anyone can spot the sunrise signal before the markets open, the 30-minute no man's land that's killing your profits right now, the simple double confirmation step to help protect against market reversals, how we've made it quicker than ever to follow along with this sunrise signal by automating the whole thing, as he's already hinted at, and so much more. But first, I want to properly introduce the man you've already heard from this morning, today's legendary guest and the mastermind behind these groundbreaking sunrise signals. The man behind this breakthrough began his career during the 1970s. In 1992, he was one of only 50 professionals to be handpicked by the CME to receive his very own Globex terminal, which Tom says turned his career around at the time. So it's not a turning tech into your advantage in the market is not new to you, Tom. He even helped manage a firm so successfully that it was eventually bought out by the $7.9 trillion institution Morgan Stanley. But this man's Wall Street legacy pales in comparison to what he's delivered for his students since he founded DTI back in 1996. Now, just hear some of the very best stories from traders who follow his top work. And now I've lost the screen again. Let me bring it back if I can rescue it real quick. Sorry about this, folks.
And while you're doing that, I wanted to recognize we have a big crowd here of support. We got Louise, we got Karina, we got Dennis, we got Kevin, we got Martin, we got Nick, Carissa, and of course Kelly. So they're here to help you if you got any questions, typing into the chat.
All right.
And Jonathan's here too.
Love it. I'm just going to share on this screen if I can, because my horrible monitor betrayed me. There we go. And here we go. All right. Almost there. Try it again. Sorry about that, Tom. Technical difficulties. Fortunately, the sunrise signal is not going to give us any technical difficulties. So here we go. Some of the very best stories from Tom's top students here. Jim P. wrote in to tell us total of $2,600 or $2,060. A great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. And then there's Ken who said, I love its simplicity. A great tool to trade. Picked up an extra $3,200 today. And I love Manny O's story. Listen to this. Just to let you know that I've had my 5th win in trading, a 135% ROI. You're the greatest and most patient with me. Now that's a student that'd been struggling, listening to other folks. He came to Tom and he found a way that worked for him. And Tom, Manny's story is not uncommon when folks work with you. Those are some of the best stories from students following along with none other than trading legend Tom Busby. You've seen him on Bloomberg, CNBC, CNN. He's written 3 books, one of which is very germane to what we're going to be talking about today. He's a living legend, and we're very thankful to have him here. So, Tom, thank you for being here today. Can you please tell us more about the sunrise signal and how you discovered it?
Stephen, I'd love to. And as I mentioned, my whole career has been based on this 24-hour market going back to the Globex days, which was really the forerunner to electronic trading. And I believe the 24-hour markets are the key to everything you see today. If you think about it, I wrote this book back in 2005. It was ahead of its time. It's come into play now with stocks trading around the clock. I got the time, so why not, let's take advantage of it. And that's what we did with the technology here. In fact, the details will be shared with you. And I think that it's so important for you to learn this portion of the market.
Exactly.
You see, most people assume the trading day starts at 9:30 when the opening bell rings. And if I still ask that question to new traders, that's what they believe. Mm-hmm. The networks love to run their shows around it, and they throw a big party for it every day. If you think about it, the opening bell. But if you're only focused on what happens after the opening bell, you're actually missing the most important signal in the early market, in the entire market. Because the truth is, Wall Street's day doesn't start at 9:30 like most people assume. It starts much early. It starts at 8 a.m. That's the pre-market. And as soon as they fire on their computers and their first trades of the day, they send a signal to help tell us what direction is going to be, what stocks are going to move, and how to get in front of everybody else. That's the beautiful thing about it. And by following this signal, which hits every morning at 8 o'clock, we're able to hop in on some of the biggest bets once the market's open. They then ride it higher, sometimes all day long. And example, look at what happened on NVIDIA. A lot of people here, a lot of my students here made this trade on NVIDIA. It fired right on schedule, on the sunrise signal at 8 o'clock, alerted me to get ready, waited for options to open 9:30, hour and a half later, set up. And it's really sort of neat to watch it happen if you look at it. That, folks, right there is what this is all about. I know you're out there thinking, can you do it? Of course you can. I've simplified all the homework, all the process. If you could, read long, shorter out, you could do the sunrise. Let's see it again on Micron. Y'all remember this trade back in April? Everybody was going crazy. The headlines were calling for economic doom as usual. That really didn't matter at all. Because once again, on April 24th, the sunrise signal fired right on time, 8 o'clock. Simply doored the forecasters, follow the sunrise, and taking 2 minutes or less to set a quick trade. MU would head higher all day long, which it did, and it kept going for days and days and days, but $491 on that day in profits. Now, that ought to get your eyes open. Don't you want to have the odds in your favor? Each day, hundreds of Wall Street traders, pits, countless algorithms come online right at about 8 in the morning. Now look at the chart of the average volume in the early morning. Everybody see that? A little activity then. So the only ones there is the big institutions doing what we're talking, getting ahead of the crowd. And look what happens. Pre-market starts picking up, starts leaving the pack. And it shows up. It's pretty clear to see. But before most people are even paying attention, you don't have to be active at 8 to reap the rewards from early birds on Wall Street. You have to watch for the sunrise signal and place your trade somewhere in that first 30 minutes after the opening bell, especially if you use options, and you piggyback on the stocks, you most likely send higher for the rest of the day. Now, I know you are out there thinking, hey, I'd like some of that. Well, you can have it now. Look at Palantir, April 24. Palantir was a stock that beat me up in 2023 or 2024. I could never get it down. But here in 2025, I'm getting my money back plus interest because back in April, we were in the midst of tear-off chaos and the markets had whipsawed like crazy the day before. VIX was still highly elevated, making it very difficult to predict what stocks would do next. But if you knew about the sunrise signal, which was a separator, that morning, markets were quiet. Volume on Palantir jumped like crazy right there at 8. And sure enough, surefire sign, they were waking up and starting their trading day with that stock. And when it did, the first thing we want to do is pile into it. And it stayed higher all day long. Look at that. Exactly what happened. That's the beautiful thing about technology. Anyone who jumped in on the side of the sunrise signal on the markets would have opened, could have made a quick 456 in a few hours. You see, Wall Street loves getting in early on some of their favorite stocks for all their research reports, all the stuff they send out to their customers. Now you will be there with them. Okay, that's because by starting their day at 8, they can trade after they have a chance to process overnight news from Asia, Europe, and all that. European trade desks are still open, and most of the major U.S. economic news drops at 8:30, all times of Eastern time. And when Wall Street starts buying a stock in the pre-market, you'll often see that the stock can run higher all day long. Meaning anyone can spot with the sunrise signal, delivers it right to your doorstep. And again, very simple, get along. Simple language. Like with NVIDIA, again, on May 27th. Look at that. First day back from Memorial Day weekend that had left the markets reeling. Stock market was lower. Tariff fears on deck. How could anyone be confident the market would open higher? You got to know the process. Trust the process. Trust the sunrise. By checking the sunrise signal, of course, volume started jumping on NVIDIA right around 8, just like we think. Look what happened. The sunrise signal confirmed the stock was ready to move higher. What happened? It moved higher right after the markets opened. So you could do the stock, do the options. You got a couple of choices there. Simple, straightforward direction in your pocket, paying out a nice $474 to anyone who followed along.
Well, Tom, that's pretty impressive what you just showed us. On just those two sunrise signals, excuse me, any trader could have picked up an extra $930 in just 2 days. And someone who'd been twice as confident in what you're showing us here could have scored $1,860 before the weekend. Tom, that's enough to help folks finally spend the weekend how they want to, right? That'd cover the green fees almost anywhere for a weekend, or maybe even a joyride for two in the car of your dreams down the highway. It really doesn't matter how anyone spends the money. That's up to them. What matters is that folks could finally have had that flexibility that so many people are lacking right now, all thanks to the sunrise signal. And Tom, you're no stranger to showing folks these kinds of returns. Just hear some of these stories from top students in your other services. Laura P's been working with you for years. I've met Laura. She's great. Listening to Tom puts money in your pockets, even on those crazy days. Yesterday had 9 trades, all winners, a $2,200 profit. Or there's Denise W., who wrote, so far I've had only winning trades, but more important to me is how much I learn every time. And that really is the key. Thanks, Tom. And here's Bruce L., who put it simply, when I follow Tom, I make money. Tom is committed to helping you all the way through the trade. But Tom, this sunrise signal is something brand new that even Laura, Denise, and Bruce are going to be amazed by. You built it into your work in the past, but you've upgraded it. So tell us, can we make money on just any stock that Wall Street moves higher at 8 a.m.?
Of course not, Stephen. You got to have the qualifiers that we built all these years working in your favor. And that was not easy. You know, if it was, everybody would be making a killing off this early bird or early trade. Just part of the trading game. Let me remind folks right now, there's no system that's perfect. We've seen some great success in our research, but losses can and will happen. That's just part of the trading game. We talk about that all the time. Fortunately, you don't have to guess at the top stocks today. You just have to know what to look for. And more importantly, when to look for it. Timing is everything. Let's talk about the opening bell again. Everybody knows it opens. Okay, major players get started a lot earlier than you do, about 8 in the morning. At 9:30, the floodgates open across the entire market. People are crawling out of bed and they're buying this and buying that. But you're going to be buying this and that with a process. Not only are the vast majority of retail traders lining up to react to the overnight news, you got overnight trades that are going to be processed in the first 10 minutes of trading. There's also a flood of trades that happen. That surge creates the biggest volume spike of the entire day, and it dwarfs the volume at 8. That's it, the solution. There it is right there. The synthetic intraday QQQ volume, looking at it, you can see how it surges right there. A lot of times those surges pull you in if you're getting pulled into the wrong stock. You see the highs of some of these stocks. We've got a separator. That's the sunrise. It can ruin you if you're not careful. That's what you have to worry about. I call that the 30 minutes of no man's land. Because if you step right out into it, you're likely to get hurt. But you can see it in second chart. Volume starts dying off, things get back to reasonable, the trend starts, and that's what we're going for, right there. In over 40 years, I've only found only one way to navigate the no man's land successfully. Stay out of it. Don't get caught up in that mix. I told you about the overnight orders in the first 10 minutes. You know, that's what people were thinking yesterday. You're going to have to play that one out, because while Wall Street might be wading through the chaos, quietly adding to the positions they started building at 8, there's no way of knowing it when the opening bell hurricane is still going strong. Fortunately, you don't have to wait long, though. Here's the key. Right after 10 o'clock, set your watch. Right after 10 o'clock, the dust starts to settle, the pack starts, the trend starts, and they continue their charge with these stocks. Look at that chart one more time. Avoid the chaos, time-wise, minimize it, and make your trade. Drops off quickly. That initial flood of trading activity dies down. You quickly see which positions from 8 are still trending higher. It's like playing bingo. You match it up, okay? The ones that made it through the madness, still going higher, the ones that give us a shot to target these trades. And it's all computerized for you. You don't have to do what I had to do. You get to get it right there in front of you. That's what I love about it. For example, take another look at example NVIDIA, this one from May 6th. As always, see the pre-market volume strike right around 8, somewhere around there. It showed the signal. Check out what happens at the opening bell. Sucks you in, gets you out of it because you bought it early, but you know it's one of your ones you're looking at. It plays out, and then what are you going to do? Wait a half hour after 10 o'clock? Volume goes back to normal levels. There it is. And you know NVIDIA's one to run. That happened on Friday, by the way, or Thursday on NVIDIA. And that was a sure sign. That's exactly what happened the rest of the day. It closed at its high. That's exactly what happened the rest of the day if you saw the sunrise signal set it up. I don't know about you. I like playing with odds in my favor. And what's that? You could have stacked another $500 on NVIDIA before quitting time, simply by waiting until you get confirmation after the opening bell. And trading the stocks that pass the test at 8 and 10, bingo. We're able to set ourselves up to target $500 or more and slam the laptop shut if you want to. Go do what you want to do. There's Palantir again on May 30th. Study shows a few winners on Palantir too. Now, you probably know it's been a wild year for Palantir stock, but late May was a bit of a rough patch. At the end of the month approach, Palantir suffered 3 straight days of going down, and MACD had crossed strongly into bear territory. To the naked eye, it didn't seem like a good day to go all in on the tech stock. But what did the sunrise say? Knew about it. In the early morning, the markets were dead quiet, and you had divergence. Right up at 8, when the volume started climbing fast, sunrise signal fired right when we expected to. It fired more than enough to tell us that Wall Street had shaken off the bad news, was bullish on Palantir at those prices for the day. Started off, you jumped in. After the spike, fell run, 30 minutes went by, the trend took fold. And what happened next? There it is, ready to rip and go higher. That's how good it is. That's how good it is, folks. And it sure did absolutely soar over the next hour. Look at that. Now, if you jumped in at the right time, I told you that time, you could have scored $500 on Palantir in over an hour. Now, Stephen, I know ours is sharp as a tack. Let me run through just one more quick example, show exactly how powerful the sunrise signal is. So let's look at AMD on May 23rd. And a lot of my students here, you made this trade, you remember? Now, AMD had a really rough start in 2025, sinking all year long and then getting hammered by tariff panic. In fact, the very morning NASDAQ published an article encouraged traders not to panic yet, despite an awful start to the year. It was sinking, telling you all the reasons. It didn't quite the storm until you guessed it. Right at 8 o'clock, set your watch, and volume immediately spiked at 8 a.m. in AMD in reverse. Clear signal, sunrise would project the stock would move higher. Anyone who's seen it could have ignored the rest of the pre-market chaos. Turned out, continued to chop around in no man's land during that period. But at 10 o'clock, it became crystal clear, didn't it? Wall Street was back moving the stock. Stock rode higher all day long, one of its biggest days. Time collected 508 in the process.
That's pretty incredible, Tom. I love the sunrise signal so far. Now, if my quick math is correct, those 3 trades you just showed us could have added up to about another $1,508 in added cash for folks. And Tom, each of those trades could have cashed in before lunchtime, which I really love. These are fast-moving stocks, not too fast, but they give you time to get in and get out and walk away with some serious payouts. Now, I'm impressed But of course, I'm not surprised that you're once again showing your traders how to seize the chance for some quick cash from the stock market because you made a career doing just that. Listen to some of these stories. Carlos G. from Texas said, "Good morning, Tom. 1 week ago, I bought a 25-cent option and the next day it closed at 125. That was 5x my original investment. A lot of money very quickly." Bobby said, "The program's very amazing. I'm up over $2,000 today." And then there's Emmanuel O from New Mexico who said, "You're a great teacher, Tom. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work." Now, Tom, as much as I love these stories, I can't wait to hear from traders who follow your sunrise signals from now on. And heck, I'm almost tempted to quit my day job and focus on these signals each and every day.
Stephen, that's awful nice of you because these sunrise signals can really be a game changer. And what I love about it, the technology serves it up to you. But I should be very clear. If you have a day job, don't quit it. Of course, there's nothing guaranteed with these sunrise signals. You should never risk more than you can afford to lose. And like any other strategy, there have been smaller wins and those that didn't work out along the way. But more importantly, you don't have to quit your day job to follow these signals. Because as you've seen time and time again, the setup's there. You only need a few minutes at a couple times, key times each day to follow the sunrise signal.
That's a great point, Tom, and I'm sure a few folks will be relieved to hear I'm not giving up on my day job just yet, although maybe a few folks will be disappointed. But I have to ask, what's stopping folks from following the sunrise signal as soon as the markets open again, let's say on Monday?
Nothing. Nothing's stopping you from doing it, from jumping in on the next sunrise signal. We made it so simple to follow along. In fact, they can set their alarm at 8 o'clock each day, get to work looking for the best opportunities, but think about it. If you just wanted to track the S&P 500, there's 500 stocks you have to monitor at 8 every morning. See the manual work you got to do? But we got it with the technology working for us. I love it. And then again at 10, we're playing bingo, meaning you're spending hours in front of your computer that could have been spent sleeping in, doing the crossword, or even doing some exercise. That with that much to do, you might have missed winners that research found on stocks like, hey, NVIDIA, QQQ, it's in play, MU in play. Now I can't blame you. I might not have seen them either if I was doing it all like I used to, but with technology, it makes a real game changer. Fortunately, I have a whole team of experts help me do this. It's not just me. The team has over a century of combined experience in the markets. They double check, cross check, and with the powerful software and our expert team, we're able to code a sunrise algo specifically designed to track these opportunities. And it's just not the manpower. We spent $500,000 to build a custom software that helps us do this and track these type signals, turning hours of all that grueling, mind-numbing work each morning into a few clicks of the button. That's what I love about it, Stephen. Each morning, the algo scans the market for sunrise signals right at 8:10 a.m. That means we already know the stock. We're set to trade before the opening bell. Strongest signals get posted to the private Telegram channel with our members. There's no need to wake up early because the fun begins at 10. That's when opening bell chaos goes away, still trending higher, and we play bingo, I call it. Like with our study shows, y'all remember this stock, CRWV, back on May 2nd. We caught it. Traders could have spotted the sunrise signal, just read the update in our Telegram channel. And even though the markets opened hot that day, the 10 a.m. Sim show, there was still a lot of gas left in the tank. Our readers would have only had to check the alert shortly before 10. There it is right there. That's simple to read. Go back to that signal real quick. Let them see how simple that is.
Let me find it. There we go.
Look at that. Simple. Price. You know it's happening. There it is. From there, you climb almost 5% or more that day. Enough, another $483 anyone following along on options. Nobody had to dig through 500 stocks. Nobody had to open a ton of charts. They just waited for that day's sunrise signal alert and placed the trade. You can do that. And they could have done it again on May the 27th, because that day the sunrise signal fired on Tesla. And by 10 a.m., it was clear the momentum wasn't stopping. Here we go. There it is. Easy to read, easy to see. Right there, right on time, 10 o'clock, perfect timing. It can continue to soar the rest of the day. Folks, those two there should convince you got to have this. And anyone who followed the alert could have been $492 richer by the end of that day.
Now, Tom, I know for a fact you've let a very small group of your top students beta test the Sunrise Algo already. In fact, a few of your students have already sent in love letters to your team, and listen to these. These are incredible. Bob says, I love the Sunrise Trade Service. It gives me the biggest bang for my buck on any service out there. And T says, it's like getting a personal meeting with Tom early in the morning. The sunrise signal and a cup of coffee are all I need to start my day. And Tom, with everything you've shown us today, it's no surprise that your traders love what you're giving them here. But the last I heard, the Sunrise Signal was a closed and reserved beta for only your elite members. So how long do the rest of us have to wait to get access to this thing?
We're going to take it live. The beta is going live on Monday, okay? That's simple. But I want to say something. I think the sunrise signal has always been important. It's never been more important than it is right now. You probably don't need me to tell you that the markets are driven by news more than ever. And in fact, according to the Financial Times, automatic trading systems now dominate market volume, with new news reading algos reacting to headlines as little as 300 microseconds. That's how fast it happens. And when you do that, when do those algos fire off? Right around 8 o'clock in the morning. So you walk away with the time, and if you're not paying attention to the sunrise signal right now, you probably your eyes are being opened. You honestly don't have a prayer keeping up with Wall Street with these algorithms out there, let alone the algos that power them. By simply following this one signal each morning, you'll be miles ahead of the average Joes out there and ready to target $250, $500, even $1,000 before the opening bell rings, waiting for that kickoff, just like I'm going to show my traders how to do every day. And for that reason, I'm going to do something I didn't expect to happen for months yet, because you're right, Stephen. The sunrise signal beta test is closed, and it was supposed to stay that way a lot longer. But over the last few weeks, our team dropped everything into folks, getting it ready for immediate release. And today, I'm happy to say we met our goal. We're able to open the doors months ahead of schedule. I'm thrilled to invite just 100 people here can join me inside our brand new trading service, Sunrise Signals. This is the only algorithm monitoring the sunrise signal designed to help traders target this each and every day before most people know what's happening. You will know, and each and every trade alert is generated in real time, sent directly to our readers wherever they are, whatever they're doing. That's what I love about it, because the moment you join us today, you'll be invited to get set up and be ready to go. Our exclusive members only Telegram channel we designed for this. You never have to search for alerts. You'll never have to dig through our spam or email or anything else. That comes directly to you. You're ready to go. And each day you'll get the full sunrise signal experience right inside that Telegram channel. It will all be inside your private channel. Starts about 8 in the morning with the sunrise signal. Each morning our algorithm will send you a list of the stocks firing. You won't have to lift a finger, just scan the list anytime before 10, and you'll have the hottest opportunities right there in front of you. Just what would have happened back on June the 11th. That morning, the algo told us to go long on Palantir, easy to see. And anyone who followed the process and placed a quick trade after 10 on that day could have scored a big $484 winner. But you wouldn't have had to guess at 10 what stock out of the 500 would be there. It was Palantir. It was still a good trade. Our algo powered it. We runs another scan right at 10, and only the cream of the crops delivered to you to meet the ideal criteria. And when they do, we'll send out the live entry alert directly to you on the go, giving you the entry price, profit target, and stop loss, even information for selecting the options, right in the palm of your hand, just like what would have happened the very next day. The alert would have come to your phone with explicit instructions. This was on MU, where the price was. You got the ticker, you got the entry, you got the exit, and you got where you're wrong. Right there, if you want to do options. Your target, all you need. Where you're wrong, always there. And even your rules on how long to hold the trade. It's all in there, which would have made following instructions on MU a piece of cake. And it was a very tasty cake, I might add, okay? So you could have tapped a few buttons when the alert came to your phone at 10, spend your time whatever else you wanted to do, maybe invite some friends over for a casual breakfast, or taking the dogs out for a quick stroll, or even played a few rounds of tennis. Only to come back a few hours later when things worked out and find a nice big winner on MU, scoring $476 in a few hours.
Tom, that's more than impressive, honestly. It's pretty much.
And it's simple, Stephen. It's simple.
It's very easy to follow. And I mean, if someone had put just $5,000 into each of those two trades, which happened back-to-back days, they'd be sitting on $2,401 with just a few minutes work. But Tom, I have to ask, some of those are quick moving trades. So wouldn't you need to be glued to your computer, glued to your phone, watching them as closely as possible to make sure they turn out as winners?
Absolutely not. We teach a master class on the steps that people need to do on entering the sunrise signal. A little trick to make sure that when it work out, these trades close automatically without breaking a sweat. I call it the profit lock technique. And it's a busy trader's absolute best friend, because with just a few quick steps, anytime you place a trade, you can have a peace of mind knowing that the stock hits the target, your gains will be locked in. And as a member, you'll unlock a free PDF telling you exactly how to use the profit lock on every trade.
Tom, I've actually used the profit lock a few times myself, and it's saved me more than once. I've won trades.
Yeah, that's a common mistake, Steve. People get in trades and they don't know what they're going to do with it. Well, we tell them right up front, this is where it should go, this is where you should exit, and this is what you should do. So there's no mystery here.
Yeah,
winning trades, while I was, maybe in a business meeting. In fact, it happened for me on Apple on Friday or Thursday. I keep saying Friday, but Thursday.
I won one while I was watching a soccer game. I even won one time driving through a thunderstorm. And I think folks are absolutely going to love the profit lock. But let me ask you another question, Tom. Do I need to be some sort of options expert or genius to get the most out of sunrise signals?
Let's just stop right there. I've been trading options for so long. I've thrown out all the stuff that confuse you and keep you directly on point. What you need to know: entry, target, and exit. We keep it simple. The answer is no. The Sunrise Signal is a fantastic program powered by the technology we're using for beginners or experienced traders alike. It's people that really want to succeed. Of course, you can always trade the underlying stock if you prefer. I do that sometimes, but if you're ready to start your option trading journey, we got you covered there too. Because the team at DTI has built what I believe is the ultimate options education course. I call it Options Made Simple. Combining over 100 years of experience and expertise with every option strategy under the sun, our team created this condensed video course to take you from a rookie level to a veteran level in no time. And it's already waiting inside your members area. You can study up over the weekend, be ready to go come Monday. But I'm not stopping there, Stephen, either. I'll also be hosting a brand new live masterclass on the Sunrise Signal. I want everybody that joins to start off strong. I got a record to protect. I want to make sure you don't make stupid mistakes. We'll go through it. Each and every student who joins Sunrise today is invited to join us absolutely free for that. We'll cover the origins of the Sunrise signal, how you can find it on your own if you want to, how to place the trades, how to follow along going in on Telegram, and so much, much more. With the primary goal, keeping it simple. Think of it like your live blueprint for getting the most out of your new membership.
I love it, Tom. And I know you've charged $497 or more for classes like that in the past, and they've absolutely been worth every penny. Education is really where DTI shines, even as great as everything you program and build is. Just hear some of the top stories from students who have attended your classes in the past. Barbara wrote in, your trading this morning was extremely helpful. Thank you for all your time and teaching and training. Very much appreciated. Paulie shouted you out. He said, thank you, T-Buzz. This is great training that allows me to stay focused on the market targets. And then
what makes Paulie a little interesting, let me stop you, Stephen. He's a new person that's just learning, and he's so excited and happy because he's not lost.
Yep, I love that. I absolutely love that. And Oscar's story, the train and trade sessions you've been having have been priceless. With the education presented are worth the time in gold. Thanks for all the hard work you've put into providing this education for us, Tom. Now, Tom, I've been there at your classes. I've seen people break down in tears because of how thankful they are about what you've been able to teach them and show them in the market. So I don't have a crystal ball, but I bet the Sunrise Masterclass is more than worth the cost of admission alone. Speaking of which, though, Tom, I have to ask, what is this going to cost, folks? Because, I mean, just a few minutes ago, you showed us two trades that could have paid out $2,400 in a matter of days. But members will get access to every Sunrise signal the algorithm spots right inside the Telegram channel. That could add up to hundreds of alerts over a single year. So what's it going to cost? I mean, $5,000, $39.97. What are we talking about here?
You know, Stephen, I don't think about what it's going to cost. I think about what it's going to make. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that access to the Sunrise signal is worth a lot, but folks should breathe a little easier today, because I revealed today's price, though there's one more big surprise I want to show folks. A few years back, Roger Scott and I joined forces to teach folks the Daybreak Master class. At the time, we were focused on trading in the pre-market. We offered a 4-week class at a rock bottom price of $295. Now, be clear, you won't need to trade the pre-market to make the most out of Sunrise signals, but the techniques we taught in the Daybreak class could give you a huge advantage in understanding the Sunrise signal. And today, we'll offer the recording of that class free as soon as you join.
Wow.
Be yours forever as a thank you for joining Sunrise.
Wow, Tom, I wasn't expecting that. I remember Daybreak Masterclass, and it was incredibly helpful to me to help me understand what makes stocks move before and even after the opening bell. I can't believe that you're now including that for free for every new member of Sunrise Signals. So, I mean, with that now included, that's another $295 of value for absolutely free. What is it going to cost? I can't even begin to think of a fair price to unlock all of this. So why don't you walk us through it?
Sure. Stephen, you mentioned earlier that these two most recent trades from our study produced over $2,401 in a few days with a couple clicks of a button. So initially, I thought $2,400 was a fair price for 1 year of Sunrise. After all, we're talking about the potential for about 100 alerts plus a year. But I know times are tight right now, so I wouldn't want a price to be a barrier for entry in absolutely anyone. So I cooked up some special bonuses I think everyone here is really going to love. Listen up. First, I want to cut the price nearly in half with a $1,000 founder's discount. Immediately dropping the price of first Sunrise signal down to $1,401. But not stopping there. We're going to go further. I'm proud of our track record we built. You saw some of it. We win nearly 4 out of 5 trades historically. And with the tight stop losses, our losses average about 30%. If each winner has been capable of delivering $250 for every $1,000 invested, that's 25% if you do the math. And with all that said, my favorite feature is now how affordably Sunrise signals are. Because our study, the average trades cost just about $302 to enter.
Yeah, that is low. I love that.
And that brings me to my last bonus. Listen up. I want to go ahead and sponsor you for your very first trade with the Sunrise Signal, the first of many successful trades we hope in the future. Meaning I'll immediately knock off another $302 off the price of your new membership, bringing the total price down to $1,099 in your first year. So here we are. We're going to drop the link in about 20 seconds. Remember, we're only going to take 100. It's time to choose. Keep running headlong into the teeth of algorithms dominating Wall Street, not knowing where you're coming or going, or follow these trades each morning in the Sunrise Signal. Now it's time to make a decision. I call it chicken, fish, or steak. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise. Or you can call 904-706-3532 to talk to one of those great helpers we got here today. Talk to our experts. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise.
All right, folks, that was a replay from the July 4th webinar. It was actually a critical point in the year, July 4th. And Tom was talking about the Sunrise Signal, and so that we listened to the replay of it today. Of course, you got the executive summary while we were live for Train and Trade. If you are interested in joining Sunrise and the automated Telegram algo, you can go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or give us a call at 904-706-3532. It's 904-706-3532. I know Tom was going to come back on to perhaps give a trade idea. Let me give Tom a call and be back.
Hey, I'm here, Jonathan.
Hey, Tom.
All right, I want to do TLT. You know, we've been successful on TLT. We've called it ever since 115 on the bonds. Let's do a TLT trade. Let's go out if we can to in October. I'd say October 3rd. What's an 89, 88 and a half? You got a quarter point or a half point?
Yeah, we do. October 3rd, TLT and 89, 88 and a half. Selling that put spread right now is 22 cents.
Take it.
Or about 21, 22. At least
yeah, that's a good one. And what I'm trying to do, folks, as long as bonds are in an up climb like they are, I want to hit this TLT, you know, about every 8 to 10 days. So it's a staple trade for us, you know, and you're using October 3rd, right, Jonathan?
October 3rd is the expiration, 89, 88 and a half credit put spread, 21 to 22 cents. And what's your target?
21, yeah. I'm going to do it myself.
6 cents in as your target, Tom?
Yeah, put 6 cents and we'll let it cook. That's the only trade I'm going to do. I was going to do another one, but it's Monday and I decided to wait. Most of the good stuff happened in the first hour. And we'll come back tonight with our Futures First class. You might put that link in there in case people would like to join that, okay? Futures First.
Futures First. Yeah, the link should be dtitrader.com.
Yeah, where they can get put the link in there where they can get the, if they want to, you know, come in for next year, you know, put that link in there for the Futures First. The other thing I would tell people is that I talked to Jonathan this morning and give us some feedback. If we combined a room and Telegram, like we have for our gold people, okay, like we have for our gold people, where we could put the trades in there. Jonathan said be a master, T-Buzz master room. And we, you know, for example, if one ticker went off, it would say go to one ticker, and you got a trade there, you know.
What Tom was saying is, instead of having an individual Telegram for each service,
yeah,
for all the services that don't need their own Telegram, like Sunrise is not included in this because Sunrise is an automated service that needs its own Telegram. But for all the other services that don't need their own Telegram, we're going to combine them all into one for you guys. And what that's going to look like, it's going to be called Tom Busby's Master Service Telegram or something like that. And if, for instance, if when Tom issues a one ticker payout trade this week or next, we would post in there, hey, Tom just issued a one ticker trade. Go to the members, go here to member site to check it out. And if you're in the one ticker program, you click on the link and find it in the members area. But you don't have to go searching for all the various Telegram channels that you have with Tom. It would just be all centrally focused into one.
We won't combine TNT. We won't combine the retirement center. We won't combine the what else we talk about, Jonathan?
Sunrise and Genesis won't be combined. SPX, Earnings Unlimited won't be combined. There's still going to be several that are standalone.
There'll be several still out there on their own, but what I was trying to do is make it more streamlined, and that way you'd find out, hey, we got a one ticker trade, and you'd go and get the trade, do it that way, more efficient. So I think we're going to do it. So it looks like the feedback's pretty good on that. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
And that way it cuts the channels down. That way, if you get a notice, it's one of the channels, or somebody might be a program you might want to join that you see is really hot at that time. Okay. So, TNT will not be in there, or SPX. All right, so let's get your Sunrise ticket before they go away, and I'll see everybody tonight.
Thanks,
We
Tom.
sold the put. It's a bullet, Michelle. It's a bullish spread by selling that put spread. A bullish spread. As long as it stays above 89, we get to keep the money we sell it for. Yes, go in. Yeah, just sign up for Sunrise. You'll start getting it. And Jonathan, remind me I want to change that list that we got on there to follow some of the top ones. Remind me to do that, okay?
I'll give you a call, Tom, so we can be clear about what you want.
Yeah, sounds great. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see everybody tonight at 7.